Hi, thank you for joining us today. My name is Eric Marquez, and today my colleague and I, Larissa Gonzalez, will be discussing the term leadership and the true essence, as well as what we feel are required traits and skills required in leadership. So let's get started. By definition, leadership is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. So Larissa, can you give us an example of when you were in a position of leadership?
Yes, I can, Eric. When I was a mentor, I actually had the opportunity to students, and I actually went to Japan, and I was able to lead them into an interaction presentation. What I did is I had the opportunity to teach them how to do a presentation with icebreakers, and how to interact and do a discussion with the class. So that was a really nice opportunity that I
Absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing. And I'm a little jealous that you've been
had.
to Japan, you said?
Yes.
I would like to go there someday, so I'm gonna have to check that off the bucket list. And absolutely, if I could relate, in my experience, the most memorable leadership role that I've experienced was given to me after years of being somewhat of a follower. And fortunately, I was discovered by management to possess somewhat of leadership characteristics, and I feel my ability to encourage others that aided in my success, and specifically was giving credit when credit was due to the staff. When they show attention to detail day in and day out and demonstrate the discipline to perform their job duties, I was quick to compliment their efforts. So, Larissa, if we could
Hmm.
dive a little bit deeper, in your
Okay.
opinion, what are some important leadership characteristics?
I feel being a leader is very important to be very organized, to have strong connections, to have very strong communication, and also to have good time management. I feel that if there is a task that needs to be done, it needs to be meaningful because if there's no purpose to strive for, then no one will complete it. And of course, being a leader, it is important to stick to the job and stick to the purpose because then, if the team's not motivated, they won't do it.
Right.
And also, like for connections, I feel it's a huge importance because if a leader cannot relate to their team or, communicate with them or find out what's going on with them, and vice versa, I feel it'll make it like a difficult in a sense. And, Eric, the reason I say this is because, if there's no connection, then there's no purpose, which means, of course, there's no heart in the task. And then
Right.
that leads to no motivation. An example of this that I actually was able to, of course, do as a leader of meaning and connection is when I was a peer mentor. I was a peer mentor in a guidance class for first year freshmen. And so my purpose for them, was to get them ready for the next college years. Because, of course, when you become a sophomore, you're on your own pretty much. And so that
Right.
was one of my main goals. And also, I made sure that I had one-on-ones with every single one of them, which I had about 30 students. And I made sure that I had good connections with them because, of course, I needed to know what was going on and make sure, their grades were good. I'm sorry, excuse me, and also too that they were really into the school and they because I had to make sure they stayed the next year. Now for
Absolutely.
organization, I feel that it's very important to be organized because of course if you're not organized, then everything will be all over the place and you'll be lost. And another example of that is when I had, because I also helped teach the class when I was a peer mentor for my students. So I made sure that I had organized notes and, of course, for my lesson plans. So, like, even if something, went out of, what had planned that day, I still had something to go back to. So, that was something that was very important. And also, I feel that strong communication is very important because, of course, if no one communicates, then nothing will be done. And then, of course, that's going to cause conflict. And, of course, things won't be done right. So, as a leader, I feel that
I,
it's important to be very clear about what needs to be done so that the outcome could be greater than expected, of course, if they strive for it. Now, as for time management, that's a biggie to me just because you have to have deadlines, like no matter what there has to be some type of deadline. And
right.
so it's like if you don't have a deadline then nothing's going to be done, everybody's going to take their time, and of course then that leads to other conflicts. So that's one of the things that's very important.
Very true. The dreaded deadline.
Yes.
Okay. Well, really good points, Larissa, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank
If
you.
I could add to what you discussed, when I think of leadership traits and skills, the most important or standout attributes that